Again, yes. Now there again, if we talk about the tree prank, attacking front tree going forward. Yeah, I want to hear some of the ideal lethal front three that you can pick players that's already represent the national team. Youth level, senior level. Yeah, the ideal front three. So I'm going in that direction. Mic check 1 2 3. All right, audio good. So I'm going in that direction, man. Yeah, I'm going into that direction of what's the ideal front three for the Reggae Boys team moving forward. You understand? Something that need to talk about. Yeah, something that need really to talk about, especially looking at all players going into their new campaign 26-27 season. Players with a club, some players without a club as yet. No one knows or the future will lies, for them moving forward, within their permanent, club at this moment. But give me the names, the Roman Borrell, the Bela Kadamatiri. Yes, you can even add a few players in the mix as well, like the Javanese and the Trevante Stewart, Javanese on that other side of the bracket where he's already 30 plus. Yes, and we're looking at some of the players that just finished the youth under 20 World Cup qualifier, just a week or two ago. Looking at Nolan, a very good, promising young player, coming through the ranks as well. Looking forward to see him get integrated into the senior team very shortly as well. Not sure if it will ever takes a long time like others did, especially the rate at those he going at this moment. You understand? Man, them already, checking in already, Brooks, Bailey, Cads, Mason Clark, R, Campbell. So you're looking at Campbell, Borrell. How is it you have more than one Campbell? So looking at Brooks, Bailey, Cads, and Mason R, Campbell, Borrell, Campbell. Oh, see what you're saying. Yeah, so it's a very interesting one. It's a very interesting one as well, looking at it. Yeah, another one, Brooks, Keenan Davis and Mason Clark. That's a solid one. That's a solid one. But the Keenan Davis, that's another story. Whether we're going to get him or not, whether he's going to commit, and ready to go, playing for the national team for the upcoming international window, as it's ideal preparation that we really need at this moment. All the guns, to come out blazing for the Nations League. All the players that's behind closed door, that's secretly, looking at the national team, want to come and represent. This is a time. This is a motive. Yeah, we have what 3 full years, ahead of us, and we have a good, solid September, October, November, game supposed to come. So you want to see players coming. We see it time and time. We didn't really see it, by the abundance of players that came through the last international World Cup qualifier. Not so many, players came in at the last backing of the final round. You understand? I think, I only can remember. I think I can remember, the Mason Clark, the Brooks, and the Tyrese Hall. Those players would have came in, and the coach think that those players would have contributed massively, going forward as well. But it was a bite, but one of those players, extremely, extremely, extremely didn't look himself, in the game. Got subbed off the first 45 minutes, didn't see him back again. Still waiting to see if we will see him for the upcoming one. So I just think that what happened and what transpired in a 2022 campaign to 2026 campaign, the rate of how the players really came in kind of deteriorate a little bit, in terms of coming into the final round, coming to the crucial phases of the team, to play a World Cup qualifier game. So I think it's something that it needs a bit of a adjustment. Yeah, I'm not saying like the administrators or the selection or the coach should be knocking on the doors. The players should be knocking on the doors of giving their availability for the upcoming games. And we don't want to see players coming in late and stuff like that. But the front three, some very, very good names. Some very good names. We don't have very rich, deep pool, of players that's playing week and week out. That's cement, you know, at this moment, right? At this moment, a few of my number nines that ideally, probably a lot of people would have give a shout, looking at the Semo Reed, the Nolan, the Johnny Brown, the man from what Derby County. I think he's playing on loan at Rochdale at this moment. The Trevante, you can give Warner Brown a shout. You get what I'm saying? Can give Warner Brown a shout, even though you don't know what is happening with those players' career at this moment. The Roman Burrell, the Bailey Cads, and you still have to respect add Shaman Nicholson name in it, because he's the the modern day leading goal scorer for the national team. But again, you're looking at it where it seems like the selection pool is going far and far away from Bowser name, where his name in the bag. It seems like it's impossible at this moment for him to get involved, with a current strong Reggae Boyz team, as it's looking very extremely hard, for a Bowser to make this team, but still put him name in it, if I'm missing any players as a number nine, Bailey Cards, Bowser, Borrell, Warner, Trevante, East, Brown, Young Nolan, Young Seymour. You have Jamal Lowe as well. Ideally, predominantly a out and out number nine, someone that if can play the 10, but he's a old fashioned in a way of a number nine where likes to get stuck in as well, but still can float around as that shadow striker. But those are some of the names I've written down as well. And also, some of the attackers. Yeah, some of the attackers, like the wingers, the Brooks, the Bailey, the Dixon, the Richards, the Mariah Gray, the Cephas, the Tyrese Campbell, the Efron, you can also add Nicola Fuller in it as well. man that's just signed over to Mount Pleasant, and the list can go on and on and on. Have some very good front three that you can combine together as well. And if you want to add, a few players that you think can come on in the future, you have the Archer, you have the Keenan Davis, you have players like that, you really think that can move the needle a little bit. Yeah, can move that needle a little bit by adding, more value, more quality, to the squad, which I think it will happen. You get what I'm saying? So I think more and more names are coming in. Keenan Davis flag already changed to Jamaica, so let's hope he commits because he won't make England definitely. Yeah, I just think that maybe that one is just a moment of time. It will happen, but I want to see it happen really soon. Want to see him contributing to the national team, starting from the Nations League. You don't want to see Keenan Davis walking into the national team for the Gold Cup. First game, debut game, Gold Cup. We've seen many occasions with players like the Demarai Gray, coming into the national team, you know, bam, straight off the cuff, Nations, Gold Cup. Yes, he was a good drafting, but you want to give players time, you want to give players to settle in, you want players to get used to the Jamaican way, all these men, yeah. They all, the selection pool, the players them go about in international break, coming into the country, of that vibe and playing, in the national stadium. You want them to come in and have that little notion of okay, this is it. Yeah, this is a reality. You understand? So many players came in, and it's like you hear reports, you hear news that first came in, first couple of game, bam, what happened next? Maybe start to see the shock of them life. So you want to see players coming in to experience, different scenarios, different notion as well of look, this is it. Yeah, this is it at this moment. But Kaylan Kadamatir, if he commits, will be our only elite striker in 2 years as well. Oh yeah, I even for sure his name, in the ring as well. Kadamatir, young brother. He is such a talent. Yeah, he's such a talent, and there are plenty more at that level where you said, if we can be very smart and choose the ones that you think that will commit, yeah, then I think we will have a very good front three for the future as well. And I'm looking at it. Yeah, looking at it where Speed came in, Steve McLaren came in, the dentist came in. You see, Tapper, I cannot find an ideal back to back front three that started for the Reggae Boys. It's very tough to find. If you can find it, let me know. But it is very tough to find that ideal front three that you said start 2, 3, 4 games. Yes, it's very difficult at the international level. Yeah, it's very difficult at the international level, but it's just always that chop and change. It's either we take out a complete front three for the next game or two bodies missing that played in the previous game. So it's like you're not seeing that consistency. You know what I'm saying? You're not seeing that consistency. And let me know, man, like what's your thoughts? Yeah, you can also interact by comment. You can also interact by click on the link, and you pull through with the audio, and you come and give your inputs and thoughts around the ideal front three for this Reggae Boy team. So looking at it where a lot of people having a lot of hopes, especially now, for Dixon. Whisper is the next player that a lot of people looking at. What will be Whisper move coming up shortly? Yeah, this is a very important stage in his career as well. Kaim Dixon and the management crew sight that up and realize that listen, it's time to flee. It's time to move on. It's time to go out and make a name of myself. Yeah, it's time to do something different. You get what I say? So again, man, Whisper, very anticipating of what will happen with Whisper. I'm intrigued. I really want to know what the player will do coming, by the end of this transfer deadline. You cannot stay in our academy, set up again. He has to go forward. He has to pull forward, have to start to make a name for himself, whether it's going to be a loan, whether it's going to be a permanent base, situation of him going out and a permanent move away to Chelsea. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, you and young Kyle Dixon got the move, from Jamaica locally to internationally, and then you get the experience, you get to know about, you get what is it to play in English football, be around good academy. Because if you look at Chelsea academy in England, one of the best, probably the best for certain people. If you look at Charlton Athletic academy in the lower leagues, it's ideally in the top five best, academy that produce players. Yeah, yes, it might not happen, in recent times, but if you look at the history and the players that came through, the academy, they're one of the best in the lower ranks, especially when they're in League One, and still, producing good young players coming up through the senior team from the academy. Look at how many players got integrated into the senior team over the preseason. Now they're giving themselves options to see if they can go forward and pursue a career, for Charles Athletic in the senior team. So there's a pathway. But for Dixon, there wasn't any pathway. You understand? He needs to go away. It's a whole different situation where Dixon just have to flee, just have to move on. And I think it's one of the best move, so far, in this window, for Reggae Boy players, moving towards different clubs as well. You get what I'm saying? So you're looking at it, man. You hope that in the next 2 years, at least 2 years from now, those two young prospects that came through, local teams in Jamaica, people are expecting big things from them. But if you look at the players that's ready right now, ideally at this given moment, the two wing position, either the left or the right, Andre Brooks, Efran Mason Clark, ideally our two best winger at this moment. I cannot see anyone compare or come close. You can call them a right grade name. You can call, Leon Bailey name. You can call Cephas. Yeah, Cephas is within a shout because what Cephas have done with his limitation and with his one dimension of play with speed, he have done a lot in games where players who technically can match up to him, with speed, who can match up, with a lot of skill, 1v1, they're not doing the damage that Cephas have done in recent times. So Cephas name should always in the ring for starting for the national team or coming off the bench to make a massive impact going forward. But at this moment, you're looking at players that you really see that these players genuinely, ready for that next step. And you think that it's Efran and also Andre Brooks. You look at those players like, only if they can make the next step in a year or two from now. And I believe if Andre Brooks going to play higher quality football in the upcoming season, he will not be at Norwich in a year or two from now. He will get shipped out. Already monitored by European clubs, clubs in Belgium, clubs in Germany. Even club like, I think, Fulham, seeing a report from one of the outlets that, monitor, the players that Fulham link with each transfer window, saying that, this could be an ideal situation that, if this player continue, it would be a right fit, for the football club. But it tells you that the player's doing something good. And I mean, I was a bit disappointed that, he moved from Sheffield United to Norwich City. Norwich had some very bad runs over the last recent years. But if you look at Sheffield, is a team that's knocking on the door, for one of those player spots. So again, the Norwich system, especially now under Fleming Clement, I think usually coach Rangers. I think he's a very good coach, and I think he will change things right now at Carrow Road. So you're hoping that maybe Norwich can find himself, playing Premier League football in 2 years from now. Hopefully, he will be along that journey with them. But he's a very good player. I love him. His work rate off the ball, his work rate with the ball, his technical ability, he's high for a pass, he's high to run into channels, he's a very good winger and he's an F-run, he's an explosive winger as well. I think at this moment, the way how he ripped up the championship, player coming from non-league football. Again, man, I think he played for, Barnet, played with Jamal Campbell Rice, so it's a player that, bleed black, green, and gold as well. He talk about it that one of his aim is to always represent, the national team. You'd have seen Jamal Campbell Rice done it, so you'd have want to do it as well. And I think, you want players like that will always commit, to the national team. And I think that he's up there. If anybody at this moment is coaching the national team, they have a very good front three to pick. Yeah, they have a very good, selection of front three. Because if you look at it, how is it that you look at Mexico, you look at the US, you look at even Costa Rica, they know who they will pick if everybody's available for their front three. They know who they will pick. But if you're looking at this Reggae Boy team, we only can do a lot of picking of, okay, is he going to play? Is he going to bench? Who will be the number 9? We don't know. The situation at this moment must fix going forward. It's a must fix situation. You get what I'm saying? So, looking at it, young players getting new clubs, moving to the next level, experienced players going to the next stage in their career, new club, new league, higher league, tougher grounds, tougher opponents, week in, week out, more demands on the body of flying from England, 7, 8 hour flight into the Caribbean, different time zone, different climate, how much your body can, accustomed to that, to the travels, the jet lag, the long flight, playing away, in Central America, playing away if you have to go into altitude in Mexico. If you have to travel from Kingston to go deep into the Caribbean, places like Guyana, places like Trinidad, places like the Belize. What if you have flights like that? It will take a toll. So it's a very interested pathway, to be an international player. And it's the demands are getting even higher and higher because more and more international tournaments are coming up. And I think with Roda Speed is at the hem at this moment. You're looking at it where hmm, him job going to be cut out because him have a gap to be closed. I think we rank somewhere around 8-7 in CONCACAF. And I think with what ahead of us, the Gold Cup, start with the Nations League, the Gold Cup, um, the qualifiers, I think will come up. But then, you have the Copa America and, with CONMEBOL looking to invite the best 6 from CONCACAF. We are not in it. So we have some grounds to be covered. With this Gold Cup coming up, I think with us not qualifying for the World Cup, I think top 3, yeah, in the Gold Cup should be a success for the Reggae Boys team, something to build on, something to improve on. If we can go glory, glory, and win our first continental tournament, then so be the case. We will celebrate long through the nights and the days. But for me, I think we should be targeting top 3 semi-final. We should be targeting that because regardless of the failures of this national team, we have players that can match up to the rest of the teams. If we put things in place, we have the players. The players are not so bad. Yeah, they are not so bad. So you hope for the best. You hope for the best. Yeah. All right. So Big up Warner Brown in buy lunch from me every day. So people, so people, hear that? Warner Brown shop at my mother restaurant every day. You understand? So big up Warner Brown passing through the door in the park community daily. Um, one bag, no good player like Whisper. You know, I mean, so much. We really need a competent number nine. So, all right. So, who is that competent number nine we're really looking for? Because, all right, one, Bailey Kadamatiri, yeah. Bailey Kadamatiri is most picking at this moment, for that ideal situation of be that number nine who's available at this moment. Yeah, you can't give Keenan Davis a shot, but you don't know if he will be available for the upcoming game. But for the upcoming games, the availability, I think at this moment, it depends though. It all depends. He's a player that is somewhere, close to a complete striker with what we have at this moment. I'm trying to figure out who is that next player that can play with his back to the goal, can hold the play a little bit, very good in the air, a player that, very good, with the ball at his feet at running at defender as well. Have strength, can hold off defender. Can't remember of any at this moment. I think Trevante Stewart is a shout of somewhere, not near, but close to, that complete ideal striker. When you talk about a complete ideal striker in this world, you talk about a Hurricane. You're talking about a Lewandowski, players that can do anything a number nine that, required in a big game at the big level. And I think Brown man, I think Trevante Stewart technically, I think his game has improved massively, massively. Yeah, remember the days of the Dumbo holding, the days of Mount Pleasant. Yeah, it was so bad. It was so bad. I think if this Trevante Stewart no, but then get the move from Mount Pleasant to Salernitana, maybe he would have a better shot of make it into the Serie A. But at that time, his game was awful. His game was awful, and as a number nine in the Serie A, yeah, you have to have some technical ability, skill to really maneuver yourself in that league. You have to have some technical ability. So I just think his game has improved massively. You know, I love Roman Burrell. I was watching him over the weekend as well. That EFL Cup played at around 30 minutes in that game. I still believe that in games needs to be worked on. Yeah, him love to make runs, but you see that look of cleverness in the box where I've seen it at the club level, not seen it yet at the international level, where you think a Javanese have that little finesse dink, have that little finesse of a finishing end product, with his game. Just think maybe at that little moment, the rush of blood. I think that Borrell is still a good finisher, but I just think that the fox in the box situation of sometimes be around just on the outskirt of the 18-yard box. I'm not sure if him is a player that can really correct his mistakes outside of the box. So I just think that his game needs to be worked on. And I was watching him and I was saying that look, he's good. He's doing what Borrell, does best, last campaign, but you could see that fitness wise, confidence wise, he's just not there as it. But I just think Brownman is probably the only thing close to what the ideal number nine should look like, at the international level, somewhere of a finishing product, that can do all facets of the game. You get what I'm saying? Not seeing a lot of, the Johnny Brown, yet for the national team. I really want to see him more, especially this campaign, for him moving away from Derby County to Rochdale. This is a big, big, big season for him. Yeah, this is a big season for him. Also, it's a big season for him as well if he's going to get picked for the national team. So we have a list of players that's playing at a very good rate, playing at a very good level. And I think that if you look at even Canada and beyond Costa Rica, Honduras, the Guatemala, we have good selection of nines. It's whether we are going to play that attacking game and that creative game to create. Because one, we don't create a lot, for our number nines. Two, we don't get the ball in the box very often from our wingers or from our fullbacks. So we need to create situation where our number nines can have work cut out for them in the box. You get what I'm saying? We don't pin the ball enough on their feet when they're in tight situation, where it only takes one touch to flick or a two touch control and then wait for the third man running and play that ball into the space. We don't create enough ideal situation where you see number nines getting spaces behind the fullbacks and also the center half. You don't really see it. So I just think we need a game plan, we need a game model, we need something for number nines because our number nines different from both of the goals have dried up, man. Yeah, the goals have dried right up. Not many goals coming. I see Brown man get his goals, there and there, but you're looking at it where fighting for scraps. We see players came in the past, score big goals, but it's coming from nothing. It's coming from scraps. And if you continue to live on scraps, one day you will be a sufferer. You will die for hunger if you continue to fight for scraps. Yeah. So if you're not fighting for something, yeah, so if you're going to fight for scraps, all your career, at some point, you're going to have nothing. So you have to have abundance of food in that plate, ready to consume. Yeah, ready to put the ball in the back of the net. So that ideal number nine, we have players, but we just need to select the perfect players for the perfect games and for the perfect system. And he hoping that the current coach at this moment, really can do that. I'm just going to see the talent in Whisper. In better learn to play the role of a center forward and get some balance. I think, to be honest, I still believe Whisper is that ideal center forward to me. I'm not seeing it as yet if he's that true and true winger. But that's where he wants to play. But I still believe that maybe age, maybe the older he gets, maybe he will understand a bit more, to play that role. Um, Maybe at this moment, as a nine, doesn't cut out for him at this moment. But again, I just think that with how I see him try to play at times, he can play with his back to the goal. He's a very, good player, in the air. You see when him play a few games for Leicester City. Yeah, I think one was in the FA Cup. Never really, lost that ball in the air. His physicality, his height, his problem, for any challenging opponents, coming Doja and Whisper Richard's way. So I just think that at this moment, to be honest, he should be a centre forward. And I think at one point that's where he used to play. You understand? But at this day and age, young players want to come off the wing, young players want to be flashy, young players want to, play on the opposite side of the foot that they use as well to come inside, cut inside, shoot, have that little fanciness about them. So I just think probably get caught up in that. Cephas, Gray, and Clark, that's a very good show. Clark left wing, that's a very good shot. But you're looking at then who will, so you have Cephas, Gray, and Clark. Say Clark is a left winger. So who will play the nine? That would be the problem. That would be the challenging because I'm not sure if Cephas is that clever enough. And Demarai Gray don't want to play as a false nine. Yeah, we've seen it. His work rate off the ball is just not good enough. And I believe that, the pressing game really starts from that number nine. Yeah, and closing with the wingers. Then, the number 10, start to clog up that midfield, pushing up the 6 and the 8 in the midfield. So, I mean, it's a good shout, but I think we need a number nine in that front three. I think we need a number nine in that. Jonathan Rowe will be our best left winger. And if we can see he love Jamaica, I think he will make a move soon and join. Me and someone having that conversation about Jonathan Rowe the other day, I was like, we were like talking about, with his love, for Jamaica, the love of his parents as well, being living, on the island same way and coming here, to look for them and, look at that. Maybe, looking at it, the player probably have some love, yes, for the country, love his parents, love the roots, love his culture. But the player probably don't have the ambition to play for the Reggae Boys. Yeah, I can be wrong, and I'm hope that I can be wrong. But I'm looking at it, man. Good player that would I want to see and come and play. Yeah, him have that little chip on him shoulder, that little temperament issue, and I kind of like that with players have that little temperament, issue of want to prove people, wrong, want to play with that chip on his shoulder, have that type of a maverick of a player with him, high deal player that will stand out in CONCACAF. I think he will add immense problem, yeah, to this region if he ever commit and play for the black, green, and gold. So I just think, yeah, him as an outsider, he should be reckoned for a show. But whenever he ready to represent and come and play for us, I think we will even go on more and more talking about the quality of a J-Ro in the national team. Yeah, but his love for Jamaica never hides it, never shy away. But what is his love for the Reggae Boys? That's a complete different question, complete different scenario. Yeah, someone would love to come to Jamaica to soak up, the entertainment package, the whole tourist vibe, the food, everything what Jamaica has to offer. But maybe the player not even looking at us to represent for the Jamaica team. I could be wrong. Yeah, but hopefully one day maybe we can get his signature. Yeah. Dixon has a long way to go. I believe, yeah, him have a long way to go, but this is football. Can learn a lot in one season by playing 30 plus games. And if Dixon fit for more than 3/4 of the season, I believe he will play around 30 games or more. And if he can play that, that will be a big step, step in the right direction for Dixon. He will learn a lot during those 30 games. He will learn the up, he will learn the down, he will learn the sideways, he will learn everything that the game can offer just in that little scenario. And you wondering, okay, go away and your your vacation, recap back on your season, adjust back yourself, come back stronger again, get yourself in the gym. Yeah, I think you can see a better Dixon even going forward 27-28 campaign if we do the simple details, which I believe that the way how the player wants to learn, the way how the player wants success, the way how the player wants to play the game, it's there. Yeah, all the coaches can just lie about Dixon and him eye for the game, his commitment and passion and his willingness to learn. All of the coaches, Lenny Hyde, Nathan Jones, and his Crawley Town coach, they all said the same thing. They all said the same thing, that the willingness of this young player to learn and want to go to the next level, it's right there. The commitment for his career is right there. So I think him have everything to go to the next step, but Dixon have to play a massive part in it as well, and also needs game. Yeah, game is important for Dixon at this moment. Game is very important. Just for game time for Doja and Whisper Richards coming this season, game time at the senior level is massive. For any. All right, so Nicola, you love RTA. You really think Jamaica qualifying in 2000. Yo, BM, say I be a problem. You create, yeah, you create be a problem. But what are we going to do? What are we going to do if we love our country, we are supporting it? We're pretty much sure a lot of Jamaican fans out there who support Portugal never seen this national team win a World Cup. A lot of fans that support Brazil never see, but still every 4 years we jump for joy. The first group stage game, the second group stage game, the third group stage game, the knockout rounds, and then our heart gets shattered somewhere along before the final. Yeah. So I think I'm on the journey. I think I'm on that journey. Hold on there. I think I am on that journey. 1 second. So, so BM, right now, may I show my commitment right now? 2030. May I show my commitment? Yeah. So you see, go for my art. May I show my commitment right now, brother? Yeah. So it's a full force ahead for the national team. Full force ahead. So this is what I'm going to do. But willing to make Jamaica break my heart, every 4 year for 20, 30 years span until my last breath on this earth. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna cost them, we're gonna cost the federation, we're gonna cost the players. But guess what? Me and you know the love for this badge, it's a forever story that will never end. And we youth them, we grandkids, and the next generations, yeah, will come and have the same headache. But you hope that something will change in the near future. Yeah, that's all I can say. But again, man, look, I might be here, speaking about Jamaica, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy. There's so much things need to get correct. We are far away from qualifying for the next World Cup. And a lot of people might say, yeah, the World Cup I got have what 16 more teams, to it. And you're looking at it, okay, 6 teams came from the CONCACAF region, Jamaica. Can be seen. All right, cool. So if we're gonna get 16 more teams add to the pool of the knockout round, so you will have what around 16 teams group up. That's all our 16 groups, something like that will be in the next World Cup if the 64 will happen, right? They have the big three: US, Canada, Mexico. Thomas Christiansen will continue for Panama. Um, you have to call 18 name. They're a very good team. You have to give Curacao a shout. Costa Rica didn't make it. Honduras didn't make it. And you're looking at it where this beloved badge is yet to make stride going forward. Yeah, we're yet to make stride going forward for 2030. It's not a guarantee. And this is why my heart and my mouth are ready. Because guess what? Nothing put in place as yet. Everybody around us in the Caribbean Sea, in the Gulf of Mexico, yeah, making stride to prepare for the battle of 2030. And if CONCACAF are going to get an extra spot, that would be 7. So you're looking at who will the Reggae Boyz replace in that top 6, top 7 to make it to the World Cup for 2030. If 64 team are going to World Cup, Jamaica still not guaranteed. And that is the sad part about it. And if you look at the players that we have, how is it that we are struggling? We know the problem. Yeah, we know the one of the big problem. Organization, preparation. That is one of the big problem. Can the federation go to the next step? Yeah, not just go out there and just spend a bag of money. We know just one, you just spend a bag of headless money. We need things to put in place because Curacao have a better league than Jamaica, but them not have any local players. We have players that we can pick from locally that you said, okay, if you need a stopgap or if you need something, you can find that one player. Warner Brown was that local player at that time, and it shows that if you add that right, ready finishing product for JPL into a very good national team with some good players, it tells us that he can score goals. So locally, we have that one or two player, not much, not even probably a handful, but we have that probably two or three players. Probably that's it. But in England, we have so many players across in Europe. We have so many players. Look at the body of players that play for Guatemala, Honduras. A lot of their players playing locally in their respective country. Yeah, I know the Central American Club League is a very tough league. You know, it's a very high standard compared to what's in the Caribbean. So they have those quality players that they can pick. But our players should be getting more out of them quality wise of they should be producing individually and the coaches should be getting more ounce of quality out of them. Not saying because the players playing for the Central American national teams play at a lower level, they are not better than what we have who are playing, especially in England. But we know what's the big problem, and it is a freaking system. Yeah, it is the system because me can go ahead and pick an ideal starting 11 and probably can get 9 out that right for Honduras. Same for Costa Rica. We can do it for Jamaica. But when the team pick, we're totally going to get it wrong. So that is one of the big problems we have where selection, organization, preparation, knowing our best 11, knowing what is our game model, we completely shattered in that department. We don't know what we are doing. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I'm willing still be able to get my heart break again by, sweet, sweet Jamaica. But it's my countryman, so you don't know have to live it or have to die with it. So you just hope that at some time down the road, something can change. Something can change. Here goes the big question again from BM. The PE teacher will only achieve one thing: failure. This is the big, big elephant in the room. Yeah? This is the big elephant in the room because he really brought in to qualify for the World Cup. He failed at that level. Fail. Yeah? Everybody who fail regarding of have done a poor job, start at the campaign or who ended the campaign as that coach, is without a job at this moment. Without a job at this moment. And we are picking people in positions who are not ready. The technical directing position is a very important role in the national team. And it tells you as well at the club level. The sporting director, someone that who play the role of communicate with the manager and communicate with the board. You want to call him sporting director, technical director, you name it. It's very important at this moment. It's very important. And we have people in place who doesn't really have the experience, don't even have the know about, don't have any success, who have never even be a director at that level before. We are putting the country future in them and the hands of building. Yeah? I believe that when I even look at, I was watching even a game, one of those Central American qualification to go to CONCACAF, the CONCACAF Champions League. And you're looking at like, why the heck them Spanish man play football as if they know what they're doing? But when you look on Jamaica teams playing against the Caribbean teams in the CFU, you like, brother, I want me really a watch. Is it me I watch some man where I try to learn to play football? And yeah, what some other players that's playing the football with the fundamental basic. Them man they over the far region don't really better than us. They are not doing any greater things on the pitch. But it looked pretty and smooth because the fundamental things, the basic of playing the football, it's on the pitch every day. It's along with them every day. And I can't believe we want to go to the next level in terms of getting better coaches. And we run a Trinidad that depend on Trinidad license. Trinidad man for coach, right? Which coach Trinidad have produced over the years? Man, them a fight for Trinidad coaches, license A, license this, that. That not gonna work, brother. That not gonna work. Them thing they need for scrap. Them thing they need for scrap. That's a one of thing where the coach is not learning nothing. Nothing. Sorry, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Gamba is actually, a good player, but BM you create a wake up a ansness right around, the live at this moment. Tyrese Campbell, being good, and he was given a tough role, a tougher role. Yeah, I think he's really yet to play one of his favorite role, in a consistent period of getting games on that left hand side, which it's very tough. Cephas is not our most technical good player, but Cephas have done some stuff on the pitch where it's in certain games it's just hard to take him out of the game. Very difficult, to take him out of the game. So I just think that again, man, you have Tyrese, you have Brooks, you have Tyrese, who is a good young player. Brooks still have another level to unlock. Whether he can go to an further after that. Efron, I believe that the way how he played football and the way how he had, his last two campaigns, looking at Coventry, you're looking at him from Peterborough days of this player, it seems like a very good championship player. But I'm sure at the championship level that him can even kick on and go to a higher stage in his career. That's another winger. That's three. You have Bailey. And not let's just put Bailey, but you have Cephas. That's a deadly weapon that can utilize in different phases of the game, whether it is the first 45 or whether it is the final 1/4 of a game, right? How much teams in CONCACAF that just play the qualification can select players who have the quality select and the quality in those players? Not many. That's what I'm saying, that people who have Jamaican football in them hands, they are messing around with it because Cephas, Andre, Efron, and Tyrese Campbell, and I even can call more. Just those four players, very good at the CONCACAF level of playing the rest of the teams that we played against in the qualification round. Whether one of them play one or two game, but it was good enough. And we failed. So you're looking at it, Bailey, name never call, Demarai Gray, name never call. Yes, Bailey have him days of not playing good, but still have to add him because he's a part of a national team. Who else name I can call as well? So you have a young player that's coming through, the Dixon or the Whisper, unproven player. So we have people that we can select. We have people that we can select. But it just seems like it is a difficult job for us to select the right people. It's like we have a difficult job. I don't know. Sometimes I lay down in my bed late at night and I really think about it. I'm like, yo, it cannot be such a difficult job to get the steam rolling for the national team. It cannot be. We should be competing at a higher scale, not world standard, but to a standard where we are going to challenge for everything right down to the wire. And I cannot believe and still believe in having nightmares of how the heck we not making it to the World Cup when we have such a weaker zone with bread and butter according to the standards in around this region. Bermuda, Curacao, and Trinidad. Trinidad is not even on top of their A game. This is far from the best Trinidad team, especially looking at the selections of players that they can pick from. This is far from even the fourth best Trinidad team I've ever assembled over the years. Far, 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 far. But it teaches us that on a way of in the clip, yeah, a way you can do off the field, what you can do just before the game start, what you can do when the minutes start to run, the in-game management, the training ground, the flights, the hotels, the preparation, everything just like it just seems like it's such a difficult job. And we're there so every day and we're here. One time, oh man, I missed date at embassy for one of the senior teams, one of the national team to go to the embassy to get their visa to go and play in a tournament. And you're like, how the heck these things are happening? And it takes ages and ages to people for lose them job. That's why people like BM frustrated and maybe on the brink of giving up. But as soon as the tournament start again, he might start people for the fence. Because that's just his love affair for Jamaica. You know, Jamaica run and cut deep inside of our soul. So we can cuss, we can argue, but at the end of the day, when that game start, we are going to support. We are going to support, but it's just a painful job to think about Jamaica football and where it at and why this is really happening. So we get into 1 second. Let me get into something real quick. So I want to pull up something, right? 1 second, the people. Alright, so should be here. Alright, so we look at some of our games and don't even want to look at the India or the Nigeria game. Yeah, we talk about it where the consistency and sometimes the routine of the front three. And you're looking at this front three at this moment. You know, you're looking at Bailey Kadamatieri played against DR Congo. Tyrese Campbell, played that game as well. Leon Bailey, played that game as well. And you're looking at it where, this front three is not so bad. Not so bad of a front three. Campbell, I think, did a very good, decent job. But this game was just too, defensive of what Tyrese Campbell can bring by limit a wing back who is not the best wing back going into the attacking third. We're more scared about drop deep and worried about a wing back who's arguably, a wing back that's very awful in the attacking third. It's not his best strength. And when the game get into the other side of the end of him defending Tyrese and his pace, It tells you that there's something. Only if we did have play most of the game on the front foot, would I at least get past one of those wing back, in some part of the game. You look at Masawaka too, not the best. Yeah. One of the worst defender, 1v1 in his times playing in the Premier League for West Ham, defending, coming up against wingers. One of the worst. But you have Aaron, who is arguably, very good, or one of the best 1v1 defender. But it shows that even when Tyrese Campbell is pace alone, threatening him off just to push back, not allowing too much space, kind of be timid in a way. But the defensive football. But look, this is just one scenario. Bailey again and Campbell. So move on from that game. Go over to the other game where it was the New Caledonia game. The front three. Who is in the front three? All right. Brooks, Kadamatieri, Campbell. But I think Brooks was playing as a 10. I think Efron and Campbell was kind of rotating as well. So it was more of Campbell, Bailey, and Efron was playing out on the wing. I think Campbell was playing mostly on that right hand side. My memory serves me right. If you can check his heat map as well. So yeah, it shows that he was playing more on that right hand side, and Efron was playing more predominantly on his favorite side, his left side. That's another front three you're looking at, still adds real quality to this national team. And if you looking at this at this moment, the front four is a very good sets of players that you're looking at. Ideally, we should be getting more out of this player. But these two players, Brooks and Efron, very much new. New boys. It was their debut game. Still wondering how these two players are making their debut in a crucial game at this. Yeah, didn't do anything over the two games. Nothing. Move on from that game. So we're looking at November the 18th, where most Jamaicans get the shock of them life. Completely different tree. Completely a different tree. Completely. Boza. You wondering, Boza get a start in that game. Yeah? You wonder, Boza get start in that game, people. I look upon it and me like, this can't be possible. Boza get start in that game. At this time, look, we might talk a lot of things against Shaman Nichols, but he's a player that I really respect because he put in the hard yards today when we reach right now in him career. But we must can criticize the player and criticize this fraud. Yeah? We must can criticize the player and criticize this fraud. The signs was all on the wall. It was written in our journal to see that, listen, coming up against Guadeloupe, Guatemala, and Panama and not manage to get out of the group. That was it for this fraud. And he was going to hear about people that are going to be my assistant, but the rumbles in the jungle really get loud. And you hear of another role, fancy name, technical advisor. I will still have the fraud. This name, this face, I wish I can erase it out of the history of Jamaica. But for some reason, for the good, it must be there because we must tell the younger ones how much this fraud and the rest of the frauds them when they behind the curtain, we sit down at the big seat, yeah, in a them office at New Kingston, allow this man to be the coach for the rest of the 6 games. Just because we probably look at it like Curacao, Trinidad, and Bermuda. this fraud must can get it. This Mexico not qualifying for the knockout rounds of the Gold Cup. You think that if Mexico was going into a knockout round World Cup qualifier with Trinidad, Bermuda, and Curacao, you still believe that a coach with such prestigious job to coach Mexico would have allow him to go to the World Cup final round? Who just coach the Mexican team and fail to make it out of the knockout round, fail to make it out of the group stage to the knockout round? That would have never happened. But we allow it. And that's what happened. It shred us apart. Yeah, it shred us apart. So this front three, different front three. Again, CFAS, I was talking about this game earlier today as I don't know if CFAS really lost his legs of what happened, hours before the game. Don't know, but man, this player, man, Shama Nicholson, got the opportunities. Yeah, got the opportunities. Not even one I shot them went on target. Not even one. And you're wondering, yo, how Boza missed those opportunities. My goodness grace, man. Every time I think about November 18th, it's a heartbreaking moment, man, for all of us. But we just I look at the front sheet and I say, yo, look, Demi, poor game. Boza, poor game. And you keep seeing the patterns happen over and over. The players, the coaches must take and hold themselves accountable for the shitty job that they have been doing. The players have to hold themselves. All right, cool. The Trinidad game. The Trinidad game where we draw, 1-1, brilliant goal from Ronaldo Cephas. Yeah? Brilliant goal. Before Kevin Molina came on and equalized, and then I think that's where everything started to go down the hill. Burrell running the lines through the middle. Gray over on that right hand side, Cephas, and you're like, yo, how can we have Cephas and Demara Gray playing at the same time? I don't think it's a good combination. I really don't think it is a good combination. Yeah, I don't think it is a good combination because look, both players don't work hard enough off the ball. And if you look at it, all right, cool. This fella here, Roman Burrell, I think one of the hard working striker that we have in our selection pool. Yeah. If you ask him to press on the front, he will lead and do a very good job. Bobby Reed, a good presser, but Cephas and Demara Gray, they're not good enough off the ball. Yes, their job is not really to do off the ball, but at least you have to can do a very good standard job of making sure that you cover the space, you follow your runners, you're closing up the gaps, you do a little bit of a man marking, you do a little bit of a pressing, but Demara Gray shouldn't be starting in these games. Looking at it, shouldn't be starting some of these games because he was out of touch. He was out of touch for that little bit, going through that little small, little bad patches, for Birmingham. Yes, I think he had a brilliant first half of the season, but down in the November, December, he kind of tail off a little bit. But you're looking at it where Tyrese Campbell came on, Rico came on, Dujan Whisper, came on as well. And you look at the bench where you have BLC, you have Kahim, and Boza didn't play in that game. Not a player that can play it in the front three, but you're looking at still how did Boza really make that squad. But I'm just looking at it where this team kinda slightly a bit unbalanced in a way because look, you're going to have Oldgate out on the right hand side, yeah. It's not really a right back. Look who is in the squad. Dexter Lemekisa and Ian Frey is on the bench. Two right back. And we have this guy playing on the right hand side who is not giving anything down that right hand side. Nothing, nada. So that's another front three. Looking at going in November window, Bermuda. Yeah, we're going into the November window where Bermuda, where we beat them 4-0 in Kingston. Look at this. This is more of a Dixon, Cephas, and also a Boza. That's arguably like the jungle tree. Yeah, that wasn't it. I saw the name was created, a jungle tree. Cephas, brilliant in that game. Boza, get him goal, not a front three. These players that getting chop and changes in these games, they all pick through the campaign. And we never have that real consistency. We never have that real consistency, going forward. We never really find that balance. But still, the coach proceed and thinks that is best. That is just his best at that time. Boza was struggling for Tijuana. Coming into the national team, he scored goal. I think I kind of click off. 1 second. Let me come back on. So, I was at the Bermuda game, right? I was at. I think I kind of lost the plot a bit. Yeah, so the Bermuda game. I was at the Bermuda game. So the Curacao game that we played down in Curacao. The front three, Campbell, Bailey, and Cephas. Again, that's what I'm saying. The players are there, but the consistency of picking the same, not ideally the same 11, but we're just not getting any or enough goals contribution from the front three. The front three is arguably, one of our most deadliest power that we can pick in terms of the players that we have up for selection. Arguably one of the strongest department, right? And we barely utilize the strength of these players. A lot of these goals that we scored all came from scraps, all came from a bit of an individual brilliance. But the team synergy, it's just not there. Even looking at it now, it's just not there. It's just not there at this moment. So let me get into the comments a bit. Yeah, let me get into the comments a bit. So I wish we had more of players playing, in the Prem Serie A, Bundesliga, League, or Belgium Pro League, or something too much championship and league players in the team. Yeah, in a sense, I would have loved it as well. I would have loved it as well that more. If all right, we can look at some of the players. All right, we have a few players. Joe Latibodier was linked to Sporting Lisbon probably 2 campaigns ago. Yeah, I think just before Mark Robbins got sacked at Coventry. And I think at that time, Victor Gyökeres was at Sporting Lisbon. He was linked with that club. All right, what he did, he remained in the championship, right? Ian Frey was linked to teams in the Bundesliga and in the Belgium Pro League. What he did, he remains in the MLS to play for his boyhood club, right? There's another player. There is another player. Let me see if I can find his name. But there's another player that's in this. All right, yeah. Andre Brooks just left a championship team that's finished higher than I think Norwich. And I finished in in more higher positions than that football club over the last couple of seasons, right? He chose to go to Norwich. Club Brugge was very much in tune of the player quality and to get his signature over the line. He remains in the championship, right? You're looking at like, all right, cool. You don't think go to Club Brugge in the Belgian Pro League is a very good step up? Would that be a very good development for him? We see so many players get developed, by Club Brugge in the Belgian Pro League. It's a very good development standard at the club level, and they played in Europe, whether it is Champions League, Europa League, or the Conference League. They're right up there in Europe competitions every season. I think that would have been I think that would have been the start of a very good career for him. I think that would have been a more progressive move. So we want the players them for play at that level, but they are choosing the opposite decision. They are choosing the opposite one. This fella here went to Switzerland, playing for a team that a lot of us have never heard of before. Yeah, I even forgot about the name of this football club. See if I can find I can't even find the name of this football club. The name is Done. Yeah, I don't even know this football club before Dexter Lemekisa signed for them. You get what I mean? I don't even know about this football club, man. And you're looking at like, all right, you are getting. See, this football club. I don't know about this club. I didn't know anything about this club. But still, we get a player transfer there from at the time he's coming from Wolverhampton, the academy team, getting bounced around from the championship, loan, the SPL loan. But you're looking at it where his career is dipping and dipping and dipping very fastly. Dexter Lembekisa. He's another disappointed one that I think that needs a very good move. Yeah. But you're looking at it, all right, you get over there and he's like, you cannot get even some games under your belt and prove that okay, you're good enough to play outside of England. And I think playing in Switzerland, all right, it's not the same level of playing in Belgium, but we see the teams that's played in over there as well. Teams like Basel, is a very good team. You never know if you can get the eye of them. A team that will compete in Europe, in my eyes, but the players are just not moving to the right direction where the fans want them to go. And I think that's just one of the problems. Sometimes the players get in the moves, get in the options, but you're looking at it where, yeah, and I'm very much agree with you at this moment. Like, I wish the players would be competing at a bigger level. The championship is just not it's just not there anymore. We got three complete strikers at Jamaica level. Keenan, Cameron, and also Tyrese Campbell. Yes, so that Tyrese Campbell, I totally agree. But it's just a big question in the room. Are those players commit at this moment? That's the big question in the room. I'm asking. Are those players really commit? Big high profile players. Again, my brethren that just wrote that, and talking about too much championship player and league players, league one players, is just not good enough. You get what I'm saying? People might rate the championship team or the league, probably will say it is in the top 10, top 20 best league in the world. But if you look at the football that played in the championship, week and week out, there's very few teams, very few players play very good football. The championship have a lot of hurt head Coaches and players in that league. It's just tough. It's just physical. It it is competitive, and it's just a lot richer than a lot of the second tier clubs. And I think the championship is probably the richest second tier league in the world. So they have those optics around their league, tougher, the competitiveness of English football is right up there. But would you say English football is the best ideal league for a player, to go to the next level? You don't know. Yeah. Look at the stars, the superstar. When since a global superstar transfer from a league outside of the Premier League coming into the Premier League as a mega star, on only few, and I can't even remember those names. Only probably a few. I think maybe Desai. I think leaving Italian Serie A at that time was probably one of the biggest league. Maybe that was slightly in his back end of his career. You think, but maybe if the Vinicius Junior deal probably would have worked out for Arsenal, maybe it would have been the most recent, global star to transfer, from the La Liga, Bundesliga, one of those leagues to come back. Tottenham wanted Harry Kane, and what he's going to do is going to sign a new deal, and he's a global superstar now, more than what he was at Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. So again, it can be the pros and the cons of playing in England, where you might think that okay, your salary will be a lot more better, but will it be better with your progress of your career? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe a player like Roman Borrell probably would have benefit of maybe playing in the Bundesliga, a league, or the Belgian Pro League, and benefit from that, and to gain that rise, and to get big off a stature of a player, and to maybe come back. Maybe that will benefit, but those players, they will not do that. They will not make that move. They will not make that move. So we are looking at it the same old English story of the players. Even look at the Sancho, the Bellingham. Only a few will leave England and compete in a top club outside of England. They're scared. It's just that scared thing about them, where they're just not going to take that risk. Yeah, they're not confident, or maybe they're looking at it where they think that England is just the best place for me. Why would I want to leave one of the richest league, the richest second tier league, probably the richest third tier league, and probably the richest fourth tier league? And you could even look at it again. The fifth tier National League probably is the richest fifth division league in the world. So so when you look at the optics, it got hard for the players them left England. It got hard, but me that want to see them challenge themselves and go out there, because I still believe that English coaches that's coaching in around in the lower tier, they still lack that progressiveness of where coaches are at this moment to bring the players to the next level. And I don't would say, like, would Bellingham stayed at Birmingham for that extra year or two, or his brother, would that be a better version of themselves by stay there? No. I think go to Germany. The football education is a lot better. The development is a lot better. Better academy, better system, better structure going forward. The English football is just too much money, and it's probably just, I don't know how the hell it's still competitive. Maybe the money that trickled on from the top team in the Premier League filtered on to the bottom clubs in the Premier League, and go so far not into the championship as well. Stuart can control the ball now. Nah, not really. But I think when I look upon him game, leaving Mount Pleasant to the Serie A, I think he has got a little bit better. Yeah, I think he has got a little bit better, where It's getting him to places, it's getting him to better positions on the pitch, and it's working out for him. But I still feel him lack so much more technical ability where I think will he ever get that part of his game complete or close to completion? I don't know. That's a big story. He's going to have to work on himself. You see, Jevan East, what is that saying about Naldo? Goal and assist for Jevan East in at the Championship League, in the Champions League qualifiers. Yeah, and Jevan East is a look. Jevan East is a very good player, and I'm going. I didn't say this as well this morning when I was talking about Jevan East. Look, I was saying that ideally one of the top three best striker in Central America during his time playing for Saprissa, right? If any one of those clubs in or any one of those national team in Central America would have the opportunity to select a Javanese and play for their football club, yeah, them would have grabbed that with both hands and select him for the national team. And then we run us out that scratch with head and like, yo, oh, we missed the opportunity here. Look for East. I score goals for Guatemala or Honduras or Costa Rica. Yeah. I believe that he was probably arguably the best striker during his time, his couple seasons that he spent in Saprissa. And arguably, outscored literally almost all the number nines that's played in Central America during that time. He outscored them massively. Massively. I think East have scored over 100 goals in the Costa Rican league for what 3-4 different clubs. He's a goal scorer, he's a machine. But we just sometimes utilize, and then the baggage that comes behind the player sometimes that doesn't really help as well. Left wing option, not the front three. All right, I remember that when you're talking, I can't see a better winger than Tyrese Campbell. The fight, the brain, the skill set, the speed, it's all there. It's just allow allow some freedom. And he's another player as well. Look, Tyrese maybe at this moment, on the verge of signing a new deal. We know his deal is wiring down, and I would have said as well that Preston is a team that wants a player as well to get his signature over the line. But the player kind of shutting down those rumors by some stuff is happening, where some reports saying that Tyrese Campbell will commit his future by want to stay in London. And he's another player that if players like those can take the risk, sign for a French league team, because teams like in the French league, some teams in the Bundesliga will sign some of these players, and they know that some of these players have some quality, especially Tyrese. He's a very intelligent player. He's a very intelligent player. I think his runs, in around the final third, it's a lot better than what he was. His skill set, and you think that maybe his 1v1 game will probably needs to improve a little bit more, but goals and assists with him being around in a better team, in a better system, that will definitely improve. And I think he's one of the players that grew up in London. I don't know if he grew up in South, East, West, North, but I would have probably assumed he's in South London. As the football club is in South London. So I think probably just getting caught up at this moment of don't want to leave England, don't want to leave London, but willing to stay at Charlton Athletic, battling mid-table in the championship, and hope that maybe a club in the higher, regard of a higher championship team will come and get him. But I think he would benefit of leaving England, go play some tier one, top tier football, the Belgium, the Bundesliga, I'm not sure, I mean, he probably would have killed it a little bit, in the La Liga, with his speed and that explosive that he have on the pitch as well. Maybe. But with his little small technical ability, with his game, he probably can survive in Spain. But teams will do wonders with him. Teams will do wonders if you look at some of the players that played in La Liga. Not many of them are explosive wingers. Not many. And if you look at some of them, it tells you that you can survive in this division with a bit of a speed and a craftiness about you. Because Rafina, Vinny, looking at the young player, coming from the Basque era, Nico, as the players getting older and getting more games, as that raw winger. Vinny was that raw, skillful winger. De Joga Bonito, Rafina was that player that he was fast. Yeah, he likes to dribble. But if you look at their gameplay, that just being in around La Liga, they have developed that bit of a craftiness about them where that look of finesse around their game. Vinny, it has probably gone a little bit higher in Vinny game, that little finesse, that craftiness in his game. Yeah, it's that outside pass with his right foot. Jamaica would have call it splice. Vinny, Vinny don't do stuff like that in his first, second, or third year. You see now him developing different phases of his game where he's being a little bit more crafty. So I'm saying that maybe some players needs to look at their career. That look, there are other places in England or outside of England, they can get a lot more out of them career and then get better and then come back in and you can be in the Premier League and then you'll be a better complete striker. But when you at the age of 21 and not making that move, and when you get to close to 29, 30 and wants to make that move, there's no more development, there's no more progress in that career. That career dead still, like some dead water. You get what I'm saying? So it's just the nature. Dixie can't make a League Four team in England and go into Serbia. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing where Dixie game is not even right now at a League Two team or maybe at a League One team. Or maybe we are saying, all right, cool. Maybe I say, all right, he never make it at Crawley Town, a League Two team. Yeah, that was just one club. Who knows if he was put on the shopping list of clubs in England. Maybe would I say one and two clubs in the League One would I want him signature or League Two? Maybe. But where Dixie career one right now is to get himself away from England, because in a them two division there, it's not about crafting and developing players. It's about winning. And Dixon career don't need just about winning. Am I gonna need a coach? Am I gonna need a club? Am I gonna need the staffs? Am I gonna need to be in an environment that will teach him all the facets and the fundamental stuff that him really like. Dixon is like a malnutrition kid with the football. Yeah, he's like a kid that needs more into his game. So I think that he's not strong enough. He's just not strong enough to deal with all of that in League One and League Two. So it's just be the best for him to flee and get out of England. You get what I'm saying? Lenny Hyde is a coach. I mean, I was saying something about Lenny Hyde. I think I was saying maybe, Lenny Hyde, was talking about Dixon of him, just his traits of willingness to learn, willingness of work hard, and his passion about the game. That I was talking about Lenny Hyde. So I'm not sure, yeah, if I dive any deeper into that and didn't realize I was talking more into Lenny Hyde. But Lenny Hyde is not that coach where you're going to put him up there and say, hey, yeah, but he's as a player, he was that player. But as a coach, I'm not sure. There's certain loopholes, in his coaching career at this moment. I see no national team raving over a League Four player. I mean, yo, this one kill me. Yo, this one kill me, bro. This one. Yo, this one kill me, bro. I swear. Stop. Stop wasting people time. Effort talking about dicks and whisper. Lethal only in your books. I have, tears. I have never said Whisper and Dixon lethal. Yeah, I've never said that. So get that one straight. Yo, big up yourself, Jared. Jared saying, don't forget this. The CM man them did want to keep out League One players. Said them no good enough. Big up yourself. Mr. Mullins saying that, at tears, man, man go look a garbage bin and stuff like that, man up here. This comment section is showing, it's our team. But honestly, I would give anything to see our national team be competitive. I will take any day as well. Yeah, look, we love it, man, and we want to see Jamaica play at that level. JPL players are not ready. Yeah, you can look into the league and say it already, but you know you can find a one or two player that you can have with better players and you can get the best out of them. That's how me feel. But the league, I don't think we have 5 players in the league right now where maybe can do what Warner Brown did with better quality player. I don't want to just rubbish the league, even though the standard of the league and all the administrators and the organizers of the league treat the league as a bush league. Yeah, it's sad to say that, but I still feel like you have that quality that can get out the league. We see it happen year after year. You get what I say? Cephas came from there, Trivante came from there. So it's all about stepping stone for each players. But overall, I don't think it's a package where we should be looking forward to pick players. I don't think it's a package. Just like Warner, for whatever reason happened, and Warner get a moment and him score 20 JPL goals. And they decided that, a player that young player starting up the league, scoring goals. Maybe we can give him opportunity. Yeah. Maybe he reward himself, a selection in the national team. And it proved that it can work, but it only can go to a certain distance. And what happened, I think, was Warner came in and scored a bag of goal. No, I don't want to say a bag of goal, but he scored a few goals. But I think we start to overplay Warner Brown. And one of the reasons in the Gold Cup, we cannot have a Warner Brown who wasn't even playing up to a very decent standard. His fitness level is not there compared to what other players have. Yeah, it wasn't there. He was struggling with an injury, and we overplayed Warner Brown, especially of this young fella pressing by himself. We kill him. We literally kill Warner Brown on the pitch. And then what happened is the fans come on different forums and start to roast and criticize a player. When we forget to look at what Warner Brown was trying to do and what the team was trying to do. It was totally a complete different scenario at the time. I just believe that he get overplayed when he wasn't fit enough and he wasn't really at the level to be playing games behind each other at the international level, especially leading the line, for the national team in the Gold Cup. Like how we get to that direction of him coming out as a bright prospect from the JPL to be one of our leading marksmen, expect to score the goals in the Gold Cup. I think he will always at that level going to need an experienced striker or someone who somewhere have a bit more of them to help him along the journey. It's not just a force right situation where the man can come in and score a bag of goal and start to play a bag of games and then everything just start to tick. Nah, he's a JPL player. He's, yes, exposed to European football. We don't know exactly what to expect at the European level of somewhat some degree, but I still need help to generate a few things that in around this game. Um, you must talk about how Jamaican get Greenwood, Hutchinson, Taverns, Mitchell, Smith Rowe, Aiden, Jaden, Anthony. Stop talking about wastemen, bro. You embarrass Jamaica and the team. What this? What tells you? You're up and about something in around this comment section. I'm not sure. So we need to come here. You must talk about how Jamaican can get Greenwood. I mean, first of all, I'm not about the team go and persuade people to come. Yes, you can knock on the door and ask for a service, but maybe that is the farthest you should go at the international level. If Greenwood want to come, Greenwood should have come. We can't force him. Greenwood seems like him as somebody who relish to be a youth coming from Jamaican parent. Doesn't give away anything about him repping the culture. Just like how, the J Row is repping the culture, coming back home looking for his parents. A Mikel Antonio, a man that used to rep Jamaica before he started playing for the national team, coming here on vacation before he was a star, and many other people. But I'm not going to come here and talk about Greenwood just like that when he's nowhere near to come in terms of him own belief. Greenwood doesn't strike me as an individual that really even wants to come at this moment. So why we gonna waste our time? Why we gonna embarrass ourselves at that about Mitchell? Mitchell seems like Mitchell can't even make an England team where them have right back a play left back, and him still they're in a Crystal Palace and ninging a wait and a wait and a wait. What we for do? Go out there and persuade him? If no, I don't believe an international coach for persuade no man for come play for the international team. We can knock on them door and ask for the service. Do you available to switch allegiance? Do you available to get a different passport? If the answer is no, then leave it. What are we going to do? Smith Rowe, tell us him want to play for Jamaica. Jaden Anthony, tell we say what we forgot to have dinner with him numerous occasions. What we need for to go? I'm training ground every day. Go ask him, yo, you're not come play for Jamaica, you're not come. Or what we need for to go? Star him in DM or star him in comment section and say, yo, come play for Jamaica. I think we should treat this just like how Mauricio Pochettino is treating the US job. Like, listen, you should not go out there and fight for no signature, for no players to come and represent this team. If you want to come, you make us know. We can help you with the process. We can help you get the papers quicker. But that's the farthest it should go. For me, that is the farthest it should go. So, I mean, Tails, I respect your opinion. If you want to talk about Omar Hutchinson and them players, Omar Hutchinson get him chance to come and rep Jamaica. Him get him chance. So what we are going to do if him turn him back on us? Or whatever happened internally, what happened behind the curtains of why he's not coming to play for us, what are we going to do? You rather go and play U20 football and play the Euros for England. What are we going to do? Do you want to open a forum? I will come on your channel and talk about those players with you, but not on my forum. When those players are not showing any real commitment. If you want to, you can open a forum and invite me. I'm willing. I'm willing to talk about football, but not to the extent of just talk about Omari to come persuade Jaden, the Smith Rowe, the Tariq Mitchell. What are we going to do? The Jamaica national team is not even at the professional level to accommodate certain big figures. What you want to embarrass yourself? Like when you see someone embarrass other national teams, we are already embarrassed by some of the comments and the remarks that other past players have made on the national team. You don't think some of those players know exactly what is happening? You think I just the sacrifice Bobby Reed make for come and play, even when we cuss him and tell him say not good. Nah, it's a commitment. It's a commitment. Tyrese Campbell, it is a commitment. It's Dexter Lembekisa, Joel Atibodier, the generous. Some of these players come at a very young age. It's a commitment. Ethan Pinnock, yeah, right after him start to represent us, maybe it could have been a force to reckon that maybe we would have him hands up in the air if he would have probably continued down that same pathway before come and represent us that could have played for England, because at one point he was arguably like top 6 best center half in the league. So it's just nature, but respect your opinion, bless up yourself, but you are open about something in the comment section, Tails. Javan is doing well in the Champions League qualifier. That player is an example of hard work and resilience. Plays off. Massive respect for Mr. John himself. Yeah. What scraps players can fight for. Players, a player that like fight for scrap is an ideal example of a player like Mikel Antonio. But how long can you fight for scrap? You're going to need scrappy goals. You're going to need the team goals. You're going to need the individual brilliance. Do our national team cover in all those departments to get in goals? You're going to need set piece goals. You're going to have to create channels and waves through the defensive third. Do the national team creating something about that? I'm not sure. Cephas, Gray, and Clark, you're still up and about with that front three without a number 9. Come off the national TV. I mean, you can turn off your TV. You get what I'm saying? You can turn off your TV. Can you imagine if we're in UEFA or CONMEBOL, we would get demolished. Thank God we're not in UEFA or CONMEBOL, because we would have sink like Bolivia. Yeah. Brooks was awful against New Caledonia. He got sub off at halftime, and we didn't feature against Congo. Mason Clark was also very poor. Yeah, and I think maybe the after work ball and the after work of him just putting in the extra yards of making sure that he's helping out his fullback, kind of buy him a bit more time to get into the team for the Congo game. But I just think that with those players coming in at that crucial time, don't know these teammates, first time playing international football, the World Cup is at stake, first time playing in Mexico, in Guadalajara, there's so many stuff. I just feel like those two players should have at least make an appearance off the bench, getting some minutes down the line. But to get them in and to start them at once, that was a big call. The question we should be asking is how Frey right back was deployed in the midfield against the Curacao. That was a dramatic move by the fraud. Yeah, that was a dramatic move by the fraud. That was not even a question. That should not happen in the books of any coach. Any coach. That was totally madness from Steve McClaren. Ship gone long time, bro. Pick up yourself, Michael Brown. Do you realize, for the first 2 windows in the World Cup qualifier, Gray was injured, and as soon as the international break was over, he was starting for Birmingham. I don't think he was injured. That was a very questionable. And all right, I believe there was something, but not to the point where the player couldn't come and play for the national team. Yeah, a player can pick up a local knock where him just not gonna be available for the next 5 days, and that would have rule out potentially 99% of the people that want to come and play international football. After moving themselves from the club service to come and play for that respective national team. I think picking up that injury maybe 3 days, 4 days, just 3 days before the first game of the international window. Maybe at the time he couldn't play, but maybe there was a questionable, maybe could have played the second game. So I believe something was there, but I just think that the commitment of right through the phase of come and play, maybe that wasn't there. I don't want the player to come and play injured, but it was a very questionable move as well. But I think the player pick up a small minor injury, but to what degree was that injury to keep him away from the national team? But with him not come and play for the Reggae Boys team, maybe all right, cool. Maybe of a small knock, maybe you can recover in a week and a half and then start for your club team. That would have given him, a lot of rest to recover and treat that particular injury, but it was very much an unknown situation. And there was a situation that was flirting around, privately as well about the player making certain gestures to an individual of his availability. So there was a bit of a questionable, situation that you wonder, like, I mean, do you really asking these favors and making these gestures, to a particular individual? I mean, that's very weird. Yeah, that's very weird, of him. These players are too scared of challenge. Been saying it, and a lot of people said it as well. Like players in the championship, players in the Premier League, it's not working out, but because of different optics, big salary, being at home, they're going to continue. Yeah, they're going to continue and they're going to prefer to stay in their homeland. Yeah, I mean, comfort. As I said, they prefer comfort over growth. I think that's a big problem with some quality players that's in the championship. Championship may be ranked in the top 10 league, but it isn't really good. Otherwise, players who play in the championship will be making Brazil team, Netherlands team, Portugal team, and etc. I'm currently, agreeing, to this, to Ireland triple four. It might be ideal one of the top 10 leagues, but would you say the championship league is better than the Argentinian league? Is it better than the Brazilian league? I don't think that should be ever a comparison, if you ask me. But for some reason, it's up there as one of the high rank league in the world, which I think it was a stupid move in the first place to even give them such a status in the world leagues of club football. You understand? So people, Nicola Sibilis, yeah, my mom saying, good night, please hit and like the button, please. So yeah, Mommy Nikki, I make you know, say, don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah. All right. So the man them need better agents and career protection. Even if we get our players into the Scottish League or second Dutch division or a stint like that. I mean, who you referring to? Bird Boys is, who you referring to? Like the JPL players you're referring to? You're talking about the JPL players, coming about, the second Bundesliga too is a very good league as well. Yeah, it's a very high pace, high tempo, quality coach. This is one thing where you cannot go against German coaches. Germany have developed good coaches at the youth level, very good coaches at the youth level. First of all, you can't convince a player to play who is not interested. Leave Greenwood alone. Much love and respect. Much love and respect, for being for that. Smith Rowe cap tied. So I don't know, man. Tails is up and about something about those players. We should talk about those players. The Hutchins to come and play for us. What more persuasion we should give Hutchins to know that, listen, this should be your home. What more persuasion we should give him? Jonathan Rowe, come here, vacate, look for people, family, friends. What more persuasion we should give him? He's already in around on the island at times. He would have known exactly what to do. I believe that the Greenwood and the J-Row, I believe that with them playing for Marseille at the time and the foreign policy of them playing locally in the French Liga, I just believe that that was basically one of the reasons why they even go to that distance and get that nationality where they at least can give them club team a lot more selection process of getting other players into their club team. I just believe that because of the protocols, they really need to free up a bit of room. Philippe Coutinho, I think he married to a Portuguese, female, and he did the same as well. Hold a Portuguese passport, so there and then Barcelona can register him as a EU player, not a South American player, and that will automatic free up a spot for Barca to go out and sign an extra non-EU player. So I just think that that was probably a situation where Mason and Jonathan found themselves. But who knows if player can change their mind? Let them change their mind further down in their career or something, and let the JFF accept those invitations from the players and said, okay, you're up for selection. We will see where you ranks amongst the selection pool within the coaching staff eyes. And from there, you make the next step. So I just don't think you should go ahead and really persuade a player that who never born in the island, don't really vacate in Ireland. Macy Greenwood, Macy Greenwood ever come to Jamaica? We don't know. We don't know the story. Yeah, we know that about Macy Greenwood. People having talked to the JFF. We don't know the backstory. We don't know what is real happening. There's so many she say, him say during that time, with the Mason Greenwood situation. We need midfielders. We need a modern number 6. Where are we going to get that right now? Where are we going to get that? That is a head scratcher. Yeah, that is more than a head scratcher at this moment. Where are we going to get that 6? I mean, look, players are out there. They might not be at that level, but do we have a coach that can help to grow a midfielder into that status of a player who play the position before, a player who understand an intelligent part of a number 6, but do we have the quality of a coach? Let's say, all right, does Rudolph Speed have the capabilities of build a number 6 in that era of being an international powerhouse in CONCACAF? Would I hear the story and many different times about developing a young player locally in Jamaica as a midfielder? It's very much hard to sell. How much young kids we have developed over the years as a 6? It's a very tricky position to play in. It's the brains of the team. It's the brains. And if you look at some of the best 6 in the world, it's the intelligent part, not bookwork, the intelligent part of and around the game. Yeah. Rodri, any team in walking, it makes that team better with his quality of being that distributor in that 6. The man that to break up play, the man that to set the tempo and build tempo and the rhythm and the flow of the game. He makes any team better. But do we have a coach can unlock those capabilities and qualities out of a player that you might can see in games at his club level, that say this player like a Gennaro Johnson maybe have the capabilities in 5 years from now, but can we groom him into this situation? Can we groom him and build him for the future? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Jamaica have the capabilities to build and to create a midfielder in that role and that fashion of a modern 6, two-way player. Break up play and can create. Set the tempo. So you're looking at a player that you want to create a monstrous midfielder in an all-in-one. So you try to create a Claude Makalele. You try to give him a bit of a Kante. You try to give him a little bit of a Serge Busquets. You try to give him a little bit of a calmness of a Michael Carrick as well. of a Xavi. So I don't think we have the quality coaches locally at this moment, who have a coach team can really push that forward to any of these young kids or experienced player, going to that next level. And Jamaica and all, the JPL, we don't really even play with those players. We don't even really play with those players. This is why other nations around us seems like they're a lot better because they play with those players and they build those players. We don't really build them player at the highest level in this current modern day. How many of the current players right now, locally and abroad, maybe can do the work of a Jason Morrison? And Jason Morrison wasn't even the finishing article of a midfielder, but he was somewhat good in his own little areas playing for the national team. How many of those players we have at this moment that really can do some very good job, like the Jason Morrison? Aston was kind of a bit of a player in his times, but you can say that okay, maybe he was a little bit of a wild oats. Maybe he was more of a defensive player than a two-way player. Yeah, Jason Morrison, a bit can have that slightly technical ability where he can control the ball, he can collect the ball in the pockets, he can take the ball on the half turn, he can kind of distribute the ball a little bit. But how many of those players we have right now? I'm not sure. So that's what we are dealing with at this moment where we are not even building. Even looking at the under 20 team. Do you see a number 6? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Do Young look like him is that ideal number 6 that you can integrate and graduate him in up to the senior team? I'm not sure. Jump look like that number 60. So you're looking at either the under 15 team or the U14 team or the under 17 team. We're not even producing it at that level. So what the hell we are going to do? Who the hell are going to come in and play that situation and make our game a lot more easier? So it's a I think the number 16 is a show for itself because under 20 now played at number 6. You know really see the dictatorship in the midfield. Time and time we are bypass Young. I mean, will get a lot of the balls, as a 8 because of him. It's a bit of a technical side of his game at that level. He's very good of receiving the ball with his back to his goal. Turn, he can find a pass, he can break the press. That's why he will get a lot of balls, in that area. But we're looking at the man that playing behind him, who should be the one that distributing the ball, where Owell is getting the ball further up into the final third or closer to the final third, where he will be probably a lot more needed in that area because his passes really and the build-up play came at a deeper line. When John play, you don't really see a big difference of a 6 between Jump and Young. Respect the Jump family. Yeah, footballing family. Young, I'm not sure. Maybe these players can probably gradually grow into a different player. Probably be the player that would have won. But at this moment, it's not there. It's really not there. Um, what are your thoughts on Al Grimson flopping with Ireland and failing to qualify for the World Cup? I think, to be honest, look, I'm gonna applaud the dentist. I think he walked into a difficult situation, at the time where Ireland going through a phases where they're trying their best to recruit some of the young kids in the academies of the Premier League teams and pick the same championship players and League One players like the Reggae Boys doing at this current day and age, right? I think he had a better squad than previous managers. So I think that He done a fairly good job, if you ask me, to get them that far, even though it is a failure of not getting Ireland to the World Cup, and that was a part of what the federation wants from Al Grimson to get them into the World Cup, and he failed. But if you ask me, it was a fairly good job, to be honest, with the dentist, and I think that maybe with better planning, maybe of longer longer time, in the job, and to really to go around and assess those young kids in the Premier League academies team to come and to play and give their service to Ireland. I think they might have a better chance going forward. But let's see what will happen. With the Euros, with the qualification. Will they play the qualification? Because I think the Euro will be in the UK. I'm not sure, but let's see what will happen with them. Moving forward. Ro was at was at the Popeyes Cup final and never saw anyone even say hi to him. I mean, big up yourself, Sham Six, for that as well. Didn't know about that. Grims will probably, regret leaving Jamaica so early, especially after seeing the group we got to qualify for the World Cup. I think the dentist is a man with integrity. With once you're playing with my integrity and my profile as a coach, and where you can tarnish my image and my name, I think the dentist done the right thing. Yeah, I think the dentist done the right thing, to be honest. I think there's so many issues, with the dentist and him, with the federation, him not, committing to live in the there's so many issues, around the dentist, man. I look really love the work what the dentist do, especially gathering a big data system of academy players who for come and play for the age group teams and the senior level. And I think that he make us somewhat better with a bit of a extra organization in our shape, where we can a little bit more sturdy as a defensive unit. But I think we conceded some late goals in Al Grim's era, where that was a big miss. That was not mistake, but that was a big problem. That was a huge problem, right? But overall, I think there was a plan, but many of us didn't like it because it was too defensively. And I think that a lot of us bite the dust, and we need to be careful going forward on what we ask for and what we want, because David Moyes would have won a European Cup for West Ham. And the next season, or going to the next season, fans were calling for David Moyes to get sacked because of the style of play. That's not the West Ham way. And us, as fans, were calling for the dentist to be sacked of his negative football. But I think we, as a group of fans, weren't really looking at the bigger picture of maybe the dentist was building something defensively first and gradually taking his time into the different department, midfield, and then attacking wise. Maybe that was his plan. And maybe we at the time was so hungry and eager for success and to see players, playing a lot more front foot football. But I believe that over the years of seeing coaches come and go, I think the dentist was up for something with the national team. I think he was up for something of, I believe Al Grimson would have probably get us over the line. I believe so. I believe so, to be honest. I believe even with his incompetent, way of playing, front foot football, I believe the dentist would have get us over the line. But maybe that was his way of fine tuning things of, okay, we are not a powerhouse in CONCACAF. Let's be the first thing to do is to hard to beat. And I think that we lost a game in the Gold Cup, where maybe it was Deshaun Bernard fault, or maybe it was the defensive side of the game at the time. I remember when we played Mexico and we lost 3-0, I think, in the semi-final. I think Deshaun Bernard and Nanalo played at the back. I'm not sure. I remember about that game. I think Deshaun Bernard, sold, a few goals to the Mexican in that game. Maybe defensively in that game wasn't good, but Al Grimson still, he was up for something. And I think he was a very good planner, coach. And I've never really get that on our side for a pretty good long term um data system, acknowledging players that's out of the pool, you know, looking at different areas and how we can improve, getting a full slate of staffs that really can complement the national team. And I believe that he was so professional that he couldn't believe in his eyes. And the man them that him have to come up against to get what he really wants, to improve his job. Them never see it because maybe it's the first time I come up to someone that's really professional at that level. And I think that his profile really fit Jamaica at that time. The dentist. Yeah, I believe the dentist profile fit Jamaica at that time because getting a small nation like Iceland to major tournaments, just like Jamaica population as well as being a minnows on the map of world football. I think with his limitation as well. Again, Iceland, the Scandinavian people and people up there, further north, they have some very loyal, bunch of people that, once you give them the tools, they're going to always be organized. They're always going to get, the job, move on to the next level. And I think the dentist was something similar to that, but he came up against some monsters. Yeah, he came up against some monsters that he just couldn't defeat them. And I think that he was just protecting his image and his integrity as a coach and his profile of that. Not going to take the risk with these people. Not going to take the risk with these people. So let's see, man. Let's see, what will happen. But I think we need a profile coach like the dentist that will take his time because we look at it as fans and say, yo, Premier League players, championship players, look at where we are come up against in the CONCACAF, in the Caribbean and in Central America. Our players are playing at a far better level. Why we are not playing the modern football? But maybe Jamaica football need a reset. And maybe that was the reset of the dentist of gradually build something from behind the scene with the administrators of getting that side of the job done properly, getting the professionalism from the players, because you could see that he was very furious with the stuff that happened behind the scene, especially with the entertainment thing, players doing their own what's not, behind the scene and no real standard. He was very furious about that. And that seems like it was one of the big deal breaker of him say, hey, I really have to leave. So maybe at this time we're looking at, man, Jamaica need a reset. Yeah, definitely need a reset. No, November the 18th and March the 31st. Prove that and teach us that listen, we need a reset of a button. And maybe that what was the dentist was up and about, and we were too eager for success and work up. And the negative football, we just couldn't deal with it and wasn't looking at maybe the bigger picture. But I really respect the dentist of a coach and how he was going about and making his job filtering right around the place of the Jamaican Football Federation and the Reggae Boyz players as well. Iceland qualified for the World Cup over Italy. Everybody qualified over the Italy except Jamaica. You get me? I say instead of the dentist, we need somebody like Ronaldo Reader, an experienced coach with an impressive resume. Yes. With really of his experience of this level in this region is massive. Yeah, it's a massive name. It's a world beat name in CONCACAF, to someone to have. I think he coached Colombia to a World Cup as well. I think he was probably the coach that bring back a bit of a joy, to Colombian football. Ronaldo Rueda. No, he's a Colombian as well. So I'm not sure if we will ever, get one of those experienced coach. I'm not sure, but Rueda is a good shot. The dentist is someone who's good as well. Iceland knocked England out of the Euros. Yeah, I remember that game as well. So maybe the man was about to create magic, but we and our craft itself run out the dentist out of the country. Yeah. Nick Goodnight express our thoughts on the U21 with Al Grimson and where should Ed know. Um, big up yourself, Michael, Garden. Long time don't hear from you, man, as well. Hope everything is going well with you up north as well. Yes, closing out a beautiful summer season, entering, fall and then the harsh winter weather on the northeast. But going into the direction of the U20, there's a few names that will get thrown into the hat. And I think players that they need that step up. Obviously Nolan is one where scoring goals, playing in the Canadian Championship as well, getting goals for the national team at 16, being a leader at a U20 World Cup qualification round. That tells you a lot about the player. I just think that he needs that next step now. What's next? What's next for Nolan? Because after played so many games at the youth level for the national team and looking forward for senior men football, going to be 17 as well. I think the next step should be away from the level of MLS Next Pro. That should be the next step away from MLS Next Pro. Get to understand what it will take now. Just like Seymour Reed. Seymour Reed might not be playing week in week out for NYFC in the MLS, but he's week in week out training with that team, week in week out being on the bench, learning. So at some given point, Seymour Reed will have to make a decision. New York FC will have to make a decision at some given point. Yeah. Of game time is needed at this moment. So you have different learning steps for young players. So I think Seymour Reed we should protect and we should keep these players intact right in our data system because these players can easily be the next wave of young reggae boys coming through as well. Owen is a good midfielder, playing for Mount Pleasant. He shows it when he played at his level with his peers. He's a cut above, a few of the midfielders as well. And I'm sure a bit of a quality. And his technical ability with set piece is very good. And he's not scared, to receive the ball in tight situation. What's next for Owen? Will he continue? I probably can stomach Owen play another season in the JPL, but I would love him to get exposed to a level where it will help him now because the human brain, the psychological part of the brain sometimes work in a weird way where you played so many games at the under 17 level, at the under 20 level, and you think that you might be there, there's no more challenge for you. Or the JPL and for Mount Pleasant is no challenge. The brain can really works that way where he might have a bit of a comfort within himself that I don't need to do that or that, I'm big enough. So I'm do with the under 20 team. And me a captain it, me and a star. the human psychology brain might work in that way where it can affect the player. The pros and the cons can come with it. If you don't have the right management people around you, the right people when you're even away from football to even to advise you that, hey, these are the stuff that you should be doing. So we have quite a few players that if they get the right move in next year or two, there's a player in them at the club level and it will benefit the national team. But I just think that now is the right time. We have a very good under 17 and under 20 team coming up, filtering up. Even go back, even you can even go a step further as well behind under 15. So we have like closely around two generation of players that if we do the right thing, we can actually see that progress from youth level, the transition into the senior team, like what Mexico did during their golden age. Yeah. Honduras did it as well, starting from the 90s and filter right up to the mid 2000s, where they're very good at the youth level, come to the senior level as well. Because arguably we know Honduras was one of the better team in Central America until Costa Rica came about in the early 2000. I think the players like, the one chopping them really came through. You know, they found a new wave of players like the Kayla Navas, the Joel Campbell, the Brian Ruiz. You get what I'm saying? And then Panama start to do what those clubs failed to do during their golden age. Youth players, senior team success. But you have to make the right decisions. You have to appoint the right people in order for have success with the age group and the senior team. So now we see a bit of a success at the youth level in terms of being competitive. Under 20 players playing senior football, playing top tier youth level football because the MLS Next Pro is a top tier youth league in this region. Yeah. So we have players playing in that league. We have players playing in the USL. We have never really seen this wave of players at the youth level, especially U20 playing World Cup qualifier. If you can remember the days, even after I think the Juna Flemings, the Shaman Nichols, those teams that came to us under 20, we have so many players either they're playing in the JPL or the players that just finished playing Manning Cup are some of the collegiate players. And that's not really experience. Under 20 is a professional level. Those players should be professional. So we have players now understand and be in setup and being around professional environment and exposed to MLS academy teams and MLS senior teams in the environment. So that change. So we have to give a bit of a credit whoever in the JFF organizing these stuff and slightly getting it a little bit better. Yeah. And we can do a little bit more, but we have to give them that credit. The way how they filtering the youth players and picking players at that level. Look at this under 20 team. Players, Baby Gardner's son exposed to league football in League One, Carabao Cup. You have Bent who are play senior football. You have the Birds of them are play, senior football in Jamaica. You have Grant, the USL, you have the two center half, exposed, to play at least a level of senior football, on a weekly basis. Owell doing his thing, even playing in the CONCACAF Champion League. It shows that, he's a bright, young future player, young, somewhere in Europe, I think Portugal, so Nolan scoring goals left, right, and center in an elite youth league. So it tells you that there's something he's building secretly. So it's all about to continue this journey, and I'm excited, but I'm not overly excited over the top where I'm going to drop my guards with this administration because even when a cookie needs to get placed in a cup of a milk, they spill the cup before they add the cookie. That's so easily they can lose focus or make bad decisions going forward. So let's leave it like that. Nolan is in the MLS Next Pro. He will probably move up to MLS eventually. Yes, good talent. Good talent. I think he's one of our brightest. And don't forget, Sean Layton, I think Sean is a good player, but was just playing out of position because Nolan was just so good. Scott, good player. Hopefully he make it out of the collegiate system. God walk with him. You understand? Al Grimson wasn't interested in coaching Jamaica. In coaching in Jamaica, he couldn't get a job elsewhere, so he used Jamaica to build his resume. I don't blame him entirely. I blame the Dunwit who hired him. Seymour Reed is not scoring in the MLS yet, but it is a big jump from MLS Next Pro to MLS. So yeah, you're right. You're right, Ronnie. It's probably all right. Nolan a score goal, right? Seymour Reed once was scoring goal at that level. We don't want to forget that as well. He was scoring goal at that level, but he's gaining some experience that Nolan is not getting at this moment. The weekly travel from east to west. Just be around play like the Costa Rican that's playing striker for NYFC, Martinez. Just being around them, just being around Morales, Martinez, very experienced player playing in Argentina, playing in MLS. Just be around those players. He will be learning a lot just by being in that environment every day. While Nolan is yet to really get exposed to that on a weekly basis. So it's the pros and the cons. His next development should be minutes on the pitch. And that's where his game will come in. And that's when he's going to have to move to the next level and bring all of this we might learn now by not factoring the minutes on the pitch. When the minutes on the pitch fall in, then he should implement those things in his game and help him moving forward. But still happy for the player. I still think it is a super talent, for NYFC. They are nurturing very well as well. I think the last real big name that came out of the academy, I think it was McFarlane. I think he's somewhere now. I forgot. I saw news about him moving. The young kid that can play for England and Jamaica as well. Yeah, but he's a super talent. He's a super talent for NYFC, not to the world standard, but he's a super talent for the football club, and they believe in him, and they believe that he can go places and play at a very good level. NYFC players, you thought that somewhere it is. Think Europe should be in Europe. Think Europe should be in Europe, like Belgium. Yeah, yeah, I think his time will come. I believe his time will come. I believe there are eyes on him, and it will happen. Either start to get more minutes in the senior team, or a move away will happen. But very much confident in NYFC to nurture that talent, which they are a very good club of doing that as well. So many young players came through that door as well. If Reed cannot score in MLS, then I doubt he will be to score top European league like Belgium. Um, yeah, in somewhat, but what if though? What if though, Rani, after the end of this MLS campaign, he finds a club in Europe, and then all of a sudden he started to get the game time, he started to get the momentum, then he started to score goal. Then our argument will have to change. But especially your argument will have to change of if Reed cannot score in MLS, but does Reed getting that ample time for NYFC to prove to you are some people that maybe doubting his scoring ability in the MLS. But one thing I can say, NYFC is my team. And that's the reason why I paid for Apple TV is because I like to watch NYFC. I was a resident of the Bronx. I was like 5 minutes walking distance from the Yankee Stadium. So that's my local club in America. So I watch it day in and day. So each time you see Seymour Reed plays, it's like you're giving a little kid candy. It's very sweet, nourishing for the brain for him. Yeah, very nourishing for him. Thinks it is the best thing you can ever do for him to give him candy. So you see a bit of a spark in him whenever he touch on the pitch and get quite a few minutes on the pitch. I'm wondering, a few of the attacking players are currently out injured, and I'm wondering why, the coach is not giving him, a few more extra minutes, especially when Martinez, is down at this moment. The ideal number 9 for the club. Are you wondering like why is he not getting? But again, let's see what's up with New York and Seymour Reed. But again, man, when he plays, you see a little bit of a spark. You see a little bit of okay, something is very special in around this player with this football club. But I respect your opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion, especially no. You're looking at it where he's not scoring, but you looking at it, he's not scoring, Rani, but he's not getting the minutes to really to prove that he can be a goal scorer as a kid in this young career at this moment. You get me? I say, did we get any great prospect from the elite JFF Academy? Yeah, I was just saying that a few of those players that have probably be coming through, the youth teams for the national team as well. Will be coming through very shortly. Hopefully, they can progress. You have to do well in MLS, and then they sell you to Europe, like how Beralta just got sold. Yeah, I mean, you're right. And also, all right, Jameson, who was at NYFC, he was getting game and he was doing fairly good in the midfield as a young player. And I think that's why I said, look, Kaim Dixon was in Europe, in the UK, zero appearance in the championship, was playing academy football, wasn't his best season to what he had in his first stint at the club at the academy level. He would have scored more goals at the academy level in his first stint, Kaheem Dixon, compared to his last stint from January until the end of May, right? But still, Kaheem Dixon have suitors out there that okay, we can invest and hope the best happen in the future. So Beralta was arguably like one of the best midfielder in MLS for Vancouver. Instrumental in his last two campaign. Got his move. But Beralta is an experienced lad. You get what I say? But for Seymour Reed, you still can have suitors for him. You still can have suitors for him in Europe because they would have looked at him as a big prospect. NYFC grade him as one of their best youth player is coming through in this modern day and age of their academy. They still can be suitors for him. Not because he's not getting games in the senior team, but there still can be suitors and it still can work out for him. That's just me. Maybe you have your doubt, but I have no doubt in Seymour Reed at this moment with him a possibility of going to Europe. But I still believe that he's going to need a body of work in the senior team, and that's what you are talking about, and that's when we are going to come to agreement that he needs body of work on the pitch by accumulating up minutes on the pitch. Then he can showcase what Seymour Reed can do. But if Kaim show that he's bigger than Charlton Athletic Academy and it worth investing in him and to go to Serbia into a fairly top 6, top 8 team, I think the same can happen to Semo Reed. And we see so many academy players. Yeah. So many academy players get the move. I think I think McKinney was at Dallas Academy and left at 15. I think. McKinney. Yeah. Reggie Cannon. A few of those players were in MLS Academy teams before this whole MLS Next Generation. Got their move by playing academy football and just getting a bit of a training time on the training pitch with the senior team, but still rewarded a move to Schalke 04. And look where's McKenny. So I think you are making a very valid point and you want to see the player play, but I think there's a loophole where you think that the player not getting the minutes for the senior team where he can accumulate and be a man of himself. I think there's a loophole in that where you think he cannot rewarded a move or have suitors in Europe. But I think my memory serves me right. McKenny was coming from Dallas youth academy team before he moved on to Schalke. So very much it can happen, man. You know, you see Christian Pulisic getting moved, go to Dortmund, play under 19, and then start to get, a bit of an invitation to the senior team. It can happen. It can happen, but those players are probably of a more high profile because of maybe they're Americans, they push them, they hype up them, they put them on different scale with players who they think that's the best players um during their age group. So I mean, let's leave it like that. What the hell is this? Arfstan also just got sold to Middlesbrough. I don't know that player. I don't know if you made a mistake or but I don't know that player. I don't know that player. Ronaldo, borrowed, to Portugal Division 3. Okay. McKenny went to Schalke at 18. He did not have an EU passport. All right, cool. So very much was he at Dallas though? But very much though, on what you're saying, and based on what you're saying, Ronnie M90, you seems to have great knowledge of especially the young players, That's why you're speaking so highly and speaking about Semorid in that regard because you know of the players, played at the MLS academy, graduate into the senior team and then get their move, to Europe. So you're very much, right on that. People, it is one almost 1 o'clock, 4 minutes to one. Yeah, much love and respect to the ones them, with their 2 year lids up at this moment. Yeah, I mean, much love and respect. Hope you smash like button. But see you guys, tomorrow again, there. But it was a good show. It was a good show. It was a good show. Oh, Max. Okay, okay. All right, fine. Yeah, I just know who exactly you're talking about. No. Yes, realize now who you're talking about. Just couldn't really identify the last name. But as you said, Max, realize who you're talking about. But bless up, Ronnie, much love and respect to everybody that comment and participate in the chat as well. Big up to Jordan as well. Yeah, big up to Jordan as well. See news that club in England wants Jamon Lyle. What a player. What a player. I mean, that would be some news. And I think Lyle will get maybe the same treatment as Kyle Dixon of academy football. But you take those moves with a grain of salt, yeah, and makes it even better. Use up their infrastructure, use up their coaching method, their coaching education, use up what will be exposed to you at what level in England you will be playing at, and they can move on to the next level. And being around in one of those clubs in England on your resume, that will be very much powerful for you to get a move or two down the line as well. That they know that okay, Chelsea develop you for 3 years, they will trust Chelsea academy education to know that to be in Chelsea academy, you have to be somewhat good or somewhat have some quality about you. Just like Whisper. Whisper will not be short of a move. Clubs will always want Whisper because he's in a very good structure of a system of Chelsea where they think that this player playing academy football for Chelsea, playing national football for Jamaica, there's something maybe about this player. Let's take the gamble. Let's bring him in and see what he can brings to the table. But much love and respect to the ones checking in again. See you guys sometime. Tomorrow. Not sure what time, but see you guys sometime tomorrow. Much love and respect to the ones tuning in. Yeah, big up on yourself.